changes or any part of the process? Can you tell us about that?
Which one?
I'm sorry. I know you were happy that he got the gig, but what did you find about Craig getting the job?
Well, after Garth left, there were conversations, obviously, between key players within our organization as to who the next GM was going to be. So Adrian and I had some conversations, and then Adrian had to make a decision. So once Adrian made a final decision, then he told me. So I can't tell you, I can't remember the exact date.
It wasn't a good. I just didn't know the process.
That was a process.
And so, like you said, somebody that looks at this process differently in terms of really being in the chair, but gives a different eye. What can you see happening in the relationship with you all?
Well, it's already off to a good start. So I was listening to this question about, what he learned from Garth and all that. Similar to me and Zig, I always said, okay, why did Zig make that decision? What did he see that maybe I didn't? Get the same process with Craig. But outside of all that, we've already had a relationship for 18 months. And so we're starting off, ahead of the curve. I didn't know Garth when I got here. Zig was still a coach. So there were certain things that we had to learn and do like that. So with Craig, I don't think you're going to see much difference. I mean, what he set up there, we're going to take our time and kind of see how we infill, backfill some of those roles. We're going to see what worked, what hadn't worked, what can we do better. There's lots of things that we got to sort through, and I'm personally enjoying those conversations. Those are good conversations to have. He does, room because he was invited into the coaches' rooms on a more regular basis because he was the sporting director. So he already gets to know the coaches a little bit, how we operate. So I think he's already starting with a little bit of an advantage.
Was he involved in any of the off-season interviews before players go to their off-season?
No.
Do you think he will be doing any of those to just kind of get a
We'll
bigger...
see. I'll ask him. I mean, it was Garth and I, and we used to do them together, and this year Garth did them on his own. Coaches have always done them together. So we'll continue all those things. Look, we're not reinventing the wheel again. I meant what I said up there. I mean, we have had a lot of success in this club. And this is, another story of just the club is always going to be there. It's always going to survive. Adrian said it. We're all stewards of the club. I've said that before. The club's, set up to do well.
What are some of the differences that you've noticed between the way that Garth carries himself and the way that Craig carries himself? And how much...
Well, Craig's a boys in the boat type of guy. He's a doer. He likes, getting his hands dirty. That's what I want to call him. Not that Garth didn't. I mean, I don't want to say anything disparaging about Garth, but Craig likes to be in those rooms and those conversations with the coaches. He likes to listen. What are we thinking? Why are we thinking those things? And that's probably the main difference.
Is it fair to say that he comes at he approaches his job with more of a coach's mind than?
Maybe. I never asked him that question. I certainly will find out the answer to that question. I think his experience at RSL was a good one for him. I think when we talked about it, not just up here, but what he experienced at RSL, it was a tough situation. You were the one that asked that question. I mean, there was some turmoil at RSL, and so he had to deal with that. There's not that type of turmoil here, and so whatever he learned in that experience, certainly made him grow as an individual. Is he more of a coach than a GM? I don't know. Interesting. I think he's got a good chance of straddling both, if I'm really thinking about it. Putting me on the spot here. Because he has been a long-term player in this league, has seen the growth of the league, dipped his toe in the coaching ranks at UW and then at RSL, and now has worked in the front office at a standalone club, RSL, and then now with us, having the benefit of the structure that we've had for the last 18 months. A well-rounded individual.
With all of these changes going on with the club with our new GM, what message would you have for the other MLS teams? going into next season?
Well, I don't know if I have a message for all of the other MLS teams. What I have is a message for all of our fans. I mean, you know, we're continuing to business as usual. There are always going to be shakeups. You know, when Gonzo left, it was a big deal. When Ante left, it was a big deal. When Jimmy Traore left, it was a big deal. When Andy Rose gets his first head coaching job, that'll be a big deal. And you know, the club will always survive. That's what I would say.
You have any communication with your two players who are on the U.S. team right now?
Yeah, we text back and forth.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you can do it.
I follow their Instagram.
You're really getting hip in that social media thing, aren't you?
Well, I have to. Nowadays, that's how players express themselves.
With training starting earlier than usual, do you treat these players that are out in the World Cup any different, or is that just more of a sports science thing?
Well, there's going to be an emotional letdown. I can't even imagine, because I've never experienced it, what the highs, the lows, the emotions that those four guys are going through. I saw Javi's little thing at the end of the Ecuadorian run. They're going to need some mental downtime. They're going to need some, obviously, physical downtime. So how we work that in to what is an important competition for us, and they are all important players, I don't have the answer to that right now.
New with the one player that's be the constant starter. What have you thought about his presentation?
Good. I mean, he's the starting left back, the Cameroonian national team in the World Cup. That is an accomplishment, a big accomplishment. The 3-3 game, I mean, what an exciting game that was. I mean, a lot of good games.
So guys, real quick, we're going to start Craig Waibel.
Coach, I'm pretty sure you've been watching the the World Cup, and Sounders is organizing the watch parties at Armory. I don't know if you've been able to attend.
No, I've been watching from my home. I had the England-Wales game on and the U.S.-Iran game simultaneously watching. It's all exciting stuff. It's super exciting. All the games.
So, as a fan, what do you expect from? You expect
France? That's my team.
As a fan.
I'm going on record. That is Jimmy Traore, France.
We'll put that out there.
I love that.
As a fan, what do you expect from USA? I mean, everybody wants USA to advance in this other round, but what do you think?
France might be the team I believe has the best chance of winning, but what I hope for with the United States is to win against a very talented Dutch team. That would be a massive step up. I think you already seen the U.S. mature a little bit. That was a pressure-packed game yesterday. A lot of pressure, and they came through when they needed to. I salute Greg Berhalter. I think he's done a tremendous job with that young group of players, and so my hope is they can continue in the tournament on Saturday.
So you also mentioned that you're on Instagram. Do you ever plan to go public on Instagram?
No.